How much do you think your friends get paid? You don't have to tell me a number, just keep it in your mind. Now, how much do you think the person sitting next to you at the office gets paid? Do you know? Should you know? Do you want to know? I think deep down, we all want to know. But then again, the question comes back to you. How much do you get paid? Are you comfortable disclosing that? Well, let's talk about salary transparency. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new up in this place, my name is Ntwaniengomane. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And if you have not subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below. Thank you so much for 7,000 subscribers. Let's get on to today's video because it is hip, it is happening, it is a hot topic. Let's talk about it. So today we're going to talk about salary transparency, and it is basically self-explanatory. It is the transparency of salaries. So if you're wondering how much the next person makes, this concept basically says you should know. It should be public information, right? Let's talk about some of the cons, but before we get into that, a few weeks, I think in the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of conversations around salary transparency, mainly because in the US, some states have decided to pass in a law that allows or that obligates employers and these big organizations to disclose salary bands for the jobs that they post, right? So for each job that is posted out there for the market and for people to apply, there should be a salary band. So I thought that is interesting because should we not already know these things, But let's talk about some of the reasons why our salaries are confidential and why I think sometimes it's not the best approach, right? Having salaries be transparent would obviously work for the favor of the employee, right? But also some organizations would be at a disadvantage. So think about a scenario where a smaller organization in the same market as this one big organization is offering jobs. Now, they don't have the margins, they don't have the profits compared to the big organization, so they can't offer the same salary for the same kind of roles because they're just not that big. Now, if salaries were transparent in the market, think about it. Even yourself, you would not put down your CV to the smaller firms because you can get a higher salary at the bigger organizations. So it's good, it's bad, it just depends from where you're coming from. But my opinion is mostly that transparency is good. I think it's good. I think people, in the case where you have a smaller organization to a bigger organization, you would just have to understand as an employee that the firm that you're applying to is of a certain size and can afford to pay salaries to a certain point. And obviously, when you now apply to a smaller firms, it is much less responsibility compared to a bigger firm. So obviously the salary would match that as well. But anyway, let me not ramble. Let's get on to some of the cons of this thing. And I guess, the reasons why our salaries are kept confidential information. For me, I feel like it serves employers more than it serves employees. Why? Because I feel like they then have the ability to save more money. Even if they do have the budget for it, they have the ability to save more money because we don't know what the firm next door is paying for the same role. So if I'm applying for a job and in my head, my satisfactory salary that I would want to get or expectation is, say, 600,000 rands, but their budget is from 700,000 rand upwards. Because I don't know their budget and I also don't know what the firm next door is paying for the same role, I come in at 600 and they're going to give me 600 and I'm going to feel fulfilled and I'm going to feel very happy. But in fact, that's not necessarily what the market is paying, right? So I feel like there's some sort of information asymmetry, basically saying that the organizations and the employers have far more information than we have as employees, right? Second to that, I feel like the secrecy promotes discrimination, and it's happened decades ago. It's still happening today that certain people get paid less because of some traits that they portray. So either because you're a woman, either because you're black, or maybe because you have some sort of disability. There is just so much discrimination that comes with the secrecy of salaries and salary packages. If you don't know how much the market is paying, sometimes even if you do know how much the market is paying, but you don't know how much in that people in that organization are getting, you are prone to discrimination. So you can be offered any salary and you would feel like, well, that's what they're offering, but in fact you're being discriminated against because there is no transparency. The other thing is unfair remuneration policies where certain people, even people in the same job, in the same title, in the same role, you do the same things. In some organizations, you do not get paid the same. There is some sort of an unfair policy. And like I've stated, it could be a discriminatory thing because maybe you're black, maybe you're a woman, maybe you have some sort of a disability, which shouldn't be the case, right? But it does happen that you are in the same role, you are in the same job, in the same company, you do the same thing, but you don't earn the same salary. And there is so much dynamic to this because sometimes you get told, no, you're not performing the same, the other person is performing higher than you are, and there's just so much dynamics to someone's package that we can't really pinpoint. But I think transparency is the first step for us to address all of those issues. Now, let's get to the pros. Let's get to why I am for salary transparency and why I think it's important to also have friends and colleagues who are maybe willing to talk about it, who are maybe willing to share their side, and as much as you would also share your salary. I think it eliminates the discrimination that I just spoken about. So if you know in your firm that people at this certain level with this certain kind of experience get this much, then you're able to benchmark what you get if you're also in that band to say, am I being paid fairly? Am I being underpaid? Am I being overpaid? So I feel like it eliminates that discrimination because then people know and people are able to talk about and approach their employers about why there is salary discrepancies between them and the next person. The second thing, I feel it promotes trust. I mean, think about it. If you know what people are earning in your organization and everyone is transparent about it, then I'm able to trust that my employer has my best interest at heart. I'm able to trust that my employer will give me a raise that is equivalent to the market because I know how much the market makes. And I just feel like it's motivating, man. Like, to be honest, it is quite motivating. It allows me to thrive, to work better, to not quiet quit, to do more than my job description. And it's motivating to know that your employer is actually willing to come to the party and is actually willing to pay you market related salary. It helps us to feel less underpaid. Think about it. If I were to ask you a question right now, do you think you are being underpaid? You're most likely to say yes. Even if you don't say it out loud, you probably think in your mind most of the time that I do not even get paid enough for what I do. You often feel underpaid because you don't know what everyone else is paying. You don't know what the firm next door is paying for your same role. So we're most likely to feel underpaid because we don't have a comparison. But if you had a comparison, if you knew what other people in your organization for the same role are getting paid, what other people in the company next door for the same role are getting paid, you may actually even find that you are really being overpaid, that they are being underpaid. But because we don't know, we often feel underpaid. So I think the transparency, the openness about it would eliminate that feeling of being underpaid. And I think this feeling is the main reason why people resign a lot, because I would rather go back to the market and find out what the market rate is for a next job than trying to negotiate my way into an increase at my current job, right? So I feel like if there is openness about those salaries and we're able to compare, then I'm less likely to feel like I'm being underpaid if I know people how much people are making. And if in fact I am being underpaid, then I have a basis for negotiation, which is my next point, which is a pro that if it's transparent, if we can all talk about it, if we all know, then I have a good base to negotiate. I can go in and say, hey, in firm B next door, for this, for my kind of skill, for my kind of experience, for my kind of responsibilities, they are getting paid 100,000 Rand more than I am. And I have a good basis for negotiation, right? Well, the thing is, that would be in an ideal world. Unfortunately, we do not live in an ideal world, and we live in a world where there is no transparency about that. So we can't control it from organizations and employers' perspective, but maybe there is something that we can do. And for me, it's always to advocate for, openness amongst your circle, amongst your close friends, amongst your colleagues, also amongst people who really come to ask you for help. Like, talk about salaries, talk about how much people make, because you never know when you're in the market and you're looking for a new job, and you'll need the information about how much can I expect to get paid in this job, So have those close friends in your circle where you talk about salaries, where they give you a low breakdown about how much they make, what their salary package includes. And I also think be open as well to strangers who approach you and ask about salary ranges for specific firms or specific organizations, because you don't know how much people are being lowballed out there because they just don't know. Like, that information asymmetry I spoke about really takes place, and it really happens. People could get offers out there for jobs, but they're actually being underpaid, and you're in a position to help. Maybe not necessarily tell them to turn down the job, but at least give them a good salary band of what they can expect for a similar role, maybe in your organization or just generally in the market. To close off this video, I want to tell you guys of a story that happened a few weeks ago. So someone approached me on LinkedIn, and they were looking to join this firm where they had gotten an offer, and they were sort of evaluating the offer to see if it's within the market and whether or not they should accept it. So we had a conversation about the offer, and we looked at what this person's experience was, and we looked at what that job offer was requiring them to come and do, and how their experience relate to that role, and how well they are experienced for that role. And when they first told me the offer, I thought to myself, oh my God, that offer was so low. First of all, it was so low for the kind of experience for the kind of experience that the person had. So we spoke about it, we did a bit of research on it, and we found out what the market was paying. We found out what other organizations that offer that kind of role were paying, and they were literally being underpaid in that role. And I didn't go outright and say, hey, they're underpaying you. I just said, hey, based on the market, this is what it is, right? And based off on people that work at that organization that I knew, that is what they were getting paid. So they were offering her even less than what everyone there was getting paid. So they ended up not taking that offer. And unfortunately, when you don't take an offer, then that means you're still in the job market, you're still looking, you're still searching. And I know how frustrating that can be, but sometimes you may need to go through that. But anyway, that is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys think about salary transparency differently going forward. Comment down below and let me know if you have a close-knit friends group that you guys are open about salaries and you talk about these things. And also, like, I guess I'm also really just grateful that I do have a close friends group where we are open about salaries and we talk about how much they make. in the roles that they do. It also helps me that in case I try to, change my career into a certain direction, then I know how much people are being paid in that position in a way. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, please do give it a thumbs up. Please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on salary transparency. Do you think you should know how much your colleagues make? Do you think they should know how much you make? Comment down below. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.